Hello friends. Have you ever met someone who seems like a walking paradox, ambitious yet cautious, fearless yet calculating, magnetic yet elusive? If you've crossed paths with someone born under the zodiac sign of Capricorn, and in the year of the Tiger according to the Chinese zodiac, you've met one of the most fascinating, layered personalities out there. This isn't your average zodiac mashup. The Capricorn Tiger is a blend of ancient earth energy and wild feline fire. They are grounded, yet untamed, traditional, yet rebellious, disciplined, yet impulsive when their heart gets involved. So let's crack open the mystery behind this intriguing character. We're diving deep into their world: love, marriage, sex, friendship, business, dark sides, and ultimate life purpose. Whether you're dating one, working with one, or are one, this guide will leave you seeing them in a whole new light. Love. Let's start with the juicy stuff. Capricorn Tigers don't fall in love, they calculate it, resist it, and fight it, until one day, they fall so hard it shocks even them. On the surface, they come off as calm, composed, and borderline skeptical of anything too sentimental. Love, for them, isn't some dreamy fairy tale. It's a serious, high-stakes investment. Their Capricorn side looks at romance through the lens of logic and long-term compatibility. They won't be swept off their feet easily. In fact, they're likely to analyze a person's behaviors, values, and future prospects before even admitting they're attracted. The Tiger, meanwhile, brings a rebellious energy, making them crave something bold and exhilarating, but even that desire gets filtered through Capricorn's need for structure and control. Capricorns are naturally reserved when it comes to emotions. They don't wear their heart on their sleeve. And this emotional reserve becomes even more intense when combined with the Tiger's pride and need for self-sufficiency. You're not going to see a Capricorn Tiger professing love on a whim or gushing about their feelings after the first date. Nope, they'll play it cool, ask the right questions, observe you in different situations, and quietly assess your compatibility. What makes them tricky to read is that they often feel deeply, but express it subtly, through thoughtful gestures, quiet loyalty, or consistent actions rather than flowery words. You might be dying for a sign they care, not realizing that they're showing it every day in their own private way. Add the Tiger's fierce independence and you've got someone who approaches love like a strategic chess game, except when they finally lose control. Here's where it gets interesting. The Tiger in them wants the rush. They want passion, challenge, and a little danger. They want to feel like the connection is worth breaking their rules for. This internal tension, between Capricorn's caution and the Tiger's impulsiveness, means they often resist love even as they're being pulled into it. They'll test the waters, pull back, try to regain control, then dive in headfirst when their instincts override their analysis. And when that happens, it's not just romantic, it's transformational. They give in completely, often with a surprising level of intensity. They crave a connection that's real, stable, and intellectually challenging. This isn't someone who just wants romantic dinners and shared Spotify playlists. They want a partner who's intelligent, emotionally mature, and driven. Someone with ambition, purpose, and a clear sense of self. For the Capricorn Tiger, love isn't just about attraction, it's about partnership. They need to admire you. They need to feel that your presence makes them stronger, sharper, more focused. Emotional security is important to them, but so is mental stimulation. If the conversations don't challenge them or the emotional growth isn't mutual, they'll slowly drift away, even if the chemistry is strong. This is not someone who's into meaningless flings or messy drama. In fact, casual dating can feel pointless or even exhausting for them. The Capricorn side demands purpose, while the Tiger demands authenticity. Together, they reject superficiality entirely. They may flirt, they may enjoy the attention, but deep down, they're looking for substance. They've likely had one or two emotionally intense relationships that left a mark, and because of that, they've learned to be even more cautious with who they give their time and energy to. Drama, manipulation, or emotional immaturity will get shut down instantly. If you can't be real with them, they won't be real with you. They want a partner who can match them, mentally, emotionally, and yes, sexually. We'll get to that. They are high-standard individuals. They don't expect perfection, but they do expect effort. Capricorn Tigers don't need someone who has it all figured out, but they do want someone who's actively trying to grow. In love, they admire resilience, curiosity, and ambition. If you challenge their thinking, keep them emotionally grounded, and bring passion into the mix, you've just unlocked their full attention. But if you coast, play games, or depend on them for emotional validation, they'll retreat faster than you can say, "Where did they go?" They need to respect you first, or nothing moves forward. Respect, for them, is non-negotiable. Without it, attraction fizzles. They need to see you as capable, self-possessed, and intentional. If they sense weakness, laziness, or emotional volatility, they'll begin to lose interest, even if they were initially drawn to you. Respect comes before vulnerability, before intimacy, before even trust. They'll observe how you handle stress, how you treat others, and how you make decisions. If you pass the respect test, then, and only then, do the doors to their deeper self begin to open. But here's the twist. While Capricorn gives them a cool, almost detached appearance, the tiger underneath is a romantic rebel. Once they're in love, something flips. The rebellious nature of the tiger can no longer be held back. Suddenly, the person who seemed emotionally reserved becomes warm, affectionate, even playful. They'll surprise you with deeply romantic gestures, not necessarily flashy or cliché, but tailored, meaningful, and often vulnerable. You'll see a softer, wilder side of them emerge, one that's deeply passionate and protective. The transformation can be jarring. One day they're discussing career goals over coffee, the next they're reading you Neruda poems at midnight or whispering plans for your shared future. They dream of love that's thrilling, passionate, and slightly forbidden. It's not enough for it to be practical, it has to move them. Deep inside, they want a story worth telling. Something cinematic, a connection that tests them, stretches them, even scares them a little. That's why they often fall for people who challenge their norms or make them feel alive in unexpected ways. They may be drawn to people from different cultures, lifestyles, or belief systems. The idea of playing it safe in love bores them to tears. If the connection doesn't shake them to the core, it's not worth their time. So when they love, it's an all-or-nothing game. No halfway measures here. Once they commit, they really commit. Loyalty becomes fierce. Devotion becomes intense. They'll protect the relationship like it's their most valuable treasure, because to them, it is. They'll go out of their way to support your goals, defend you in public, nurture your private world, and plan a future you can both be proud of. But if they sense betrayal, disloyalty, or disrespect, they'll walk away without looking back. Not out of coldness, but out of self-preservation. For them, love must be sacred, or not at all. They don't fall often, but when they do, expect poetry, late-night confessions, and fierce loyalty that feels almost primal. It's a rare event, but when they fall in love, it's unforgettable. You'll see them open up in ways they didn't know they could. They'll let you into their dreams, their fears, their deepest ambitions. You may receive voice notes at 2 a.m. about things they've never told anyone. Or find little notes hidden in books. Or get surprised with gifts that reflect conversations you had months ago. Their loyalty becomes a silent force, not clingy or obsessive, but ever present. They'll stand by you in silence when things fall apart, and cheer you on loudly when you rise again. That kind of loyalty is rare. It's a bond they expect to last a lifetime, and they'll work tirelessly to protect it. Best matches: Virgo Dragon, Taurus Dog, Scorpio Horse. They need someone as grounded as they are, but who won't bore them to death. They don't just want someone nice. They want someone with fire and depth. Someone who brings stability and excitement. Someone who understands silence and speaks their truth. The Virgo Dragon brings intellectual compatibility and quiet power. The Taurus Dog offers emotional steadiness and loyalty with just enough spark. And the Scorpio Horse? That's passion, mystery, and soul-level connection. Together, these matches offer a balance of earth and fire, the exact chemistry Capricorn Tigers crave. And if you are one, trust your timing. Love will come when it's real enough to break down your walls, and wild enough to make you want it all. Marriage. Marriage to a Capricorn Tiger is like signing a lifelong contract with a CEO, who's also a poet on weekends. That's not just a metaphor, it's a lifestyle. This person treats marriage as a strategic, lifelong partnership, but beneath their structured, high-achieving exterior lies a romantic soul with secret dreams of deep, unwavering love. In marriage, they are not just looking for companionship, they are looking for alliance. This is someone who wants to build with their partner, not just share a life. There is intention behind every move they make. They don't view marriage through a purely emotional or spiritual lens. They view it as an essential pillar of a fulfilling, stable, and meaningful existence. But don't mistake them for cold. Their passion is real. It just manifests through protection, consistency, and shared purpose rather than flowers and candlelit poems. Though, occasionally, the poet sneaks out. They don't rush into marriage, ever. It's something they take very seriously. Capricorn Tigers will analyze compatibility, life goals, values, and even your 5-year plan before they say, "I do." This isn't someone who wakes up and decides to elope. Before even considering marriage, they will quietly and meticulously evaluate you, not only as a lover, but as a future co-leader of a shared life. Do your values align? Are you financially compatible? What are your views on children, ambition, conflict, sacrifice? These aren't just polite dinner conversations, they are data points to the Capricorn Tiger. They may not ask you for a resume, but make no mistake, they are assessing long-term viability from day one. And here's the thing, if they don't think the relationship is solid enough to go the distance, they will walk away, no matter how strong the chemistry is. For them, love without a future is a detour, not a destination. But once they commit, they are in it for the long haul. This is where everything shifts. Once a Capricorn Tiger decides that you are their person, the relationship becomes a fortress. They're not interested in flings, wandering eyes, or emotional instability. Marriage, to them, is not just a ceremony or legal contract, it's a sacred promise. They are loyal to the core, and they will stand by you through financial stress, personal setbacks, health scares, and identity crises. Divorce is not something they consider lightly, and they will often do everything possible to repair, rebuild, and recommit before ever entertaining an exit. Their presence becomes a kind of armor, steady, strong, and quietly protective. You will feel it every day, not through words, but through unwavering action. They believe in building something together, a home, a family, a legacy. To be married to a Capricorn Tiger is to live inside a vision. They're always looking toward the next horizon, buying a home, launching a family business, raising children with purpose, investing wisely, or starting a charitable project. The Tiger gives them passion and hunger, while the Capricorn gives them patience and vision. They won't be satisfied with a marriage that just coasts. They want to achieve with their partner. They want to co-create a life that's rooted in stability, yes, but also filled with ambition and forward motion. A stagnant marriage feels like a prison to them, but a shared mission, one that brings growth and meaning. That's their love language in motion. They're not the overly clingy type, but they will show up every day, protect their partner fiercely, and expect the same in return. Don't expect them to be overly cuddly or constantly available for emotional breakdowns. While they're deeply committed, they also value independence, both their own and yours. They believe that a strong couple is made of two strong individuals. They may not text all day or gush on social media, but they will show up every day in practical, loyal, and consistent ways. They will defend you, support you, and work hard to make sure your life together is thriving. But there's an expectation baked into that. Loyalty must be mutual. Effort must be mutual. Respect must be mutual. They give a lot, but if they feel they're carrying the marriage alone, resentment will start to creep in like fog. However, don't expect them to express affection in traditional ways. Their love language leans more toward acts of service and stability than grand romantic gestures. This is not the person who writes you love poems every week or plans surprise vacations just because it's Tuesday. Their expression of love is grounded, sometimes even utilitarian. They might schedule your doctor's appointment before you realize you're due for one. They'll make sure the mortgage is paid months in advance. They'll leave the porch light on when you're coming home late, without saying a word. These small, quiet actions are their way of saying, I love you. I'm protecting you. I'm here. If you expect fireworks and serenades, you may feel underwhelmed. But if you learn to see their love in these silent efforts, in their constancy, you'll realize you're being loved with remarkable depth. They may not write you love letters, but they'll make sure the bills are paid, the house is secured, and your future is protected. And that's not just metaphorical. They take their role as a life partner very seriously. Financial responsibility, household organization, long-term planning, these are all forms of love to the Capricorn Tiger. They want their spouse to feel safe, not just emotionally, but tangibly. They'll make long-term investments. They'll research schools years in advance. They'll draw up a will, sign life insurance papers, and double-check the carbon monoxide detectors. This may not seem romantic on the surface, but beneath it all is a simple message: I am building this life to protect you. It's quiet, it's noble, and it's very real. Marital challenges? Their pride. The Tiger doesn't apologize easily, and Capricorn hates admitting they were wrong. Compromise takes work, but when it happens, their bond becomes unshakable. No marriage is without conflict, and in this one, pride can be the Achilles heel. The Tiger's ego is fierce, and Capricorn's rigidity doesn't allow for emotional flexibility. This can make arguments feel like cold wars, where no one wants to be the first to blink. Both sides hold tightly to logic, strategy, and being right, which can delay apologies and emotional repairs. But here's the flip side: they are self-aware. Eventually, they recognize that pride is the enemy of intimacy. And once they choose to lower their defenses and work through the hard stuff, their bond strengthens in ways that are hard to describe. It's as if the battle itself forges a deeper respect. Their ability to weather storms and come out stronger is one of their greatest marital superpowers, but it takes humility, practice, and time. To marry a Capricorn Tiger is to marry a rare blend of fire and foundation. It's not a whirlwind romance. It's not a fairy tale. It's better, it's real. It's love that is engineered to last, and once you're inside that circle, you'll understand why they're one of the most loyal, devoted, and quietly passionate partners you could ever ask for. Sex. Now we're getting interesting. Capricorn Tigers have an unusual combination in the bedroom: cool exterior, burning core. This isn't a person who gives themselves away lightly or casually. Sex, for them, isn't just physical. It's layered, complex, and, at its best, profoundly emotional. On the surface, they may seem controlled, maybe even slightly detached, giving off that classic Capricorn reserve. But underneath, the Tiger's wild, instinctual energy smolders. This is someone who's far more passionate than they let on, and their restraint only deepens their mystique. They won't sleep with someone just for fun or convenience. There needs to be curiosity, attraction, and above all, respect. Once those boxes are checked, though, you're in for an unforgettable ride. They won't jump into bed right away. They need to trust and desire you on a deeper level. Unlike more impulsive lovers, Capricorn Tigers take their time. They assess, they observe, they feel you out emotionally and mentally before crossing any physical lines. If you come on too strong, they'll pull away, not because they're uninterested, but because they need to feel secure before they let themselves go. Emotional safety is their secret turn-on. If they sense that you're genuine, self-respecting, and not playing games, their defenses start to lower. It's only when they feel truly seen and respected that they allow themselves to step fully into their sexual power. And once that trust is earned, they don't hold back. They evolve from cautious to carnal in a way that's breathtaking. But once the trust is built, you've unlocked a sensual, deeply instinctual lover. The Tiger in them is daring, experimental, and fully present. The Capricorn adds depth and focus. They want to satisfy, not just impress. Sex with a Capricorn Tiger is an experience. It's not about the performance, it's about intention. Every move they make is deliberate. They watch, they listen, they learn. The Tiger in them brings playfulness, creativity, and boldness into the room. They're open to new experiences, new positions, and even a little kink if they trust their partner. But the Capricorn side balances this with control and depth. They don't just want mutual climax, they want mutual transcendence. They want the connection to feel earned, meaningful, and ultimately, unforgettable. For them, great sex is both a sacred ritual and an exhilarating game. They aren't the most outwardly expressive, no theatrical moans or over-the-top drama, but what they bring to the bedroom is power. It's all about rhythm, intensity, and emotional connection. If you're expecting constant dirty talk, wild groans, or bedroom theatrics, this isn't that. Capricorn Tigers are more subtle in their approach, often focusing on breath, eye contact, timing, and touch. They communicate desire through control and precision rather than excess. But don't mistake quiet for dull, what they bring is presence. You will feel them studying you with every touch, tuning into your reactions, adjusting to your rhythm. There's a kind of erotic intelligence to the way they move, slow burn to intense release, carefully calibrated to your energy. When they're truly connected to their partner, it becomes a full body language, primal, spiritual, and fiercely real. They appreciate a partner who's confident, a bit mysterious, and knows what they want. Confidence is key with this sign combo. Capricorn Tigers aren't attracted to neediness or insecurity. They want a lover who knows themselves, who brings their own fire, curiosity, and sensuality into the room. They're especially drawn to mystery, to someone who doesn't reveal everything at once. The chase, the unfolding, the subtle tease, it drives them wild. But equally important is clarity. They don't want to guess what turns you on or how you feel about them. If you can bring that mix of mystery and directness, here's what I want, but I'm not giving it all away, you'll find yourself unlocking their deepest passion. If you're looking for one-night stands or surface-level passion, they're not your type. Capricorn Tigers want sex that means something. That doesn't mean they're prudish or overly conservative, far from it. They have desires, fantasies, and an appetite for pleasure that runs deep. But if the emotional foundation isn't there, the experience feels empty to them. Even if the physical aspect is amazing, they'll eventually walk away if the emotional resonance is missing. They need a connection that goes beyond skin, something rooted in mutual understanding, shared values, or even a shared mission. Casual flings leave them feeling drained. Real intimacy, on the other hand, recharges them at a soul level. But if you want meaningful, soul-shaking intimacy, you've found the jackpot. This is where they shine. Once fully connected, a Capricorn Tiger becomes an incredibly devoted, giving, and intuitive lover. They take their time, they explore, they check in with you mid-moment, not with words, but with their body. They're attuned to subtle cues, to energy shifts, to your breath. They bring a seriousness to sex that paradoxically makes it feel more free, because everything feels deliberate, safe, and honest. In long-term relationships, their sexual depth only grows. They don't get bored, they get better, more confident, more experimental, more in sync. With them, sex becomes less about novelty and more about discovery, a never-ending unfolding of trust, chemistry, and mutual power. They crave consistency in their sex life, but not monotony. Routine? Yes. Boredom? Never. Capricorn Tigers enjoy developing a physical rhythm with their partner over time. They're not constantly looking to reinvent the wheel, but they do crave freshness within familiarity. A new location, a shift in energy, a whispered fantasy, these subtle changes keep the fire alive. They find great pleasure in deepening intimacy, not just recreating excitement. This makes them ideal long-term lovers. They understand that real passion isn't about surprise every time, it's about depth over time. If both partners are committed to exploration, they will continue to find new dimensions of pleasure for years. They may seem composed in public, but behind closed doors, they become something else entirely. In the world, they're calm, controlled, perhaps even a little intimidating. But in private, they are magnetic, primal, and fully alive. There's a sacredness to the way they let go. For a Capricorn Tiger, the bedroom is often the only place they allow themselves to lose control, and when they do, it's explosive. You'll see a side of them that's almost shocking in its intensity. And yet, you'll also feel completely safe. They're not reckless, but they are unfiltered in their desire. This duality, stoic in the streets, sensual in the sheets, is one of the most intoxicating things about them. To be with a Capricorn Tiger in bed is to be invited into a world that's private, powerful, and deeply real. They don't open that door for just anyone, but if you're lucky enough to be let in, you'll never forget it. Friendship. Friendship with a Capricorn Tiger is a rare and precious thing. They don't open their inner circle easily, but once you're in, you're family. This kind of bond doesn't happen overnight. The Capricorn Tiger approaches friendship like they approach most things in life, with caution, discernment, and a quiet intensity. They might appear polite, even warm, but that doesn't mean you're in yet. They spend time observing how people handle stress, how they treat others, and how consistent they are in their words and actions. You don't get fast-tracked into their loyalty just by being charming or available. But once you've proven yourself over time, with honesty, reliability, and integrity, they begin to open up. And when they do, they give generously, not in loud, showy ways, but in deeply personal, lasting ways. Their circle is small, but it's made of steel. They are fiercely loyal. Need help at 3 a.m.? They'll show up. Going through a rough time? They'll sit quietly beside you, no judgment. They may not be overly expressive or touchy-feely, but their support is solid. Loyalty is a cornerstone of how the Capricorn Tiger defines friendship. They're not the friend who floods your phone with emojis or demands constant check-ins. They're the one who remembers your court date, brings you food when you're sick, and stands behind you when everyone else disappears. Their loyalty is unwavering and often unspoken. If they love you, they protect you, period. They don't need recognition or applause for being there. They'll just be there. They might not give you long pep talks, but they'll sit next to you through your darkest hours, offering quiet presence and fierce loyalty. Their actions speak volumes, and they expect your actions to speak too. That said, they hate superficial small talk. They're not the "let's gossip over brunch" type. They want deep conversations, life, dreams, politics, the meaning of existence. If you can't hold your own intellectually, they'll quietly withdraw. Capricorn Tigers crave connection that stimulates them intellectually and emotionally. They're not interested in endless conversations about who wore what, petty drama, or who said what behind someone's back. That kind of energy is, frankly, draining for them. They would rather sit in silence than talk about things that don't matter. What they do love is deep, meaty conversation. Topics like ambition, fear, philosophy, justice, love, legacy. They're fascinated by people who can hold contradictory truths, who ask questions that don't have easy answers, who challenge norms and make them think differently. Shallow minds make them restless. Deep minds? That's where they light up. But beware. Betray them once, and the tiger claws come out. Forgiveness is possible, but trust once lost is rarely fully regained. Forgiveness is a difficult process for the Capricorn Tiger. While they can be compassionate and empathetic, they're also proud and fiercely protective of their emotional space. If you lie, gossip behind their back, or use them for personal gain, even just once, they may never view you the same way again. The tiger side of them remembers pain vividly, and the Capricorn side keeps score. They might still be polite. They might still help you in a crisis. But emotionally, you'll be locked out. The bridge won't necessarily burn, it'll just be closed indefinitely. You'll feel the chill, and unless you're willing to do some serious work to rebuild that trust, you probably won't be invited back in. They tend to attract friends who are creative, driven, and independent. Drama queens? Energy vampires? Nope, the Capricorn Tiger has zero patience for that. They gravitate toward people who, like them, are self-motivated, thoughtful, and quietly intense. Artists, entrepreneurs, truth seekers, activists, deep thinkers, those are the ones who catch their attention. They admire originality and resilience in their friends. If you're going through something tough and handling it with grace, instant respect. But if your life is a constant carousel of drama, chaos, and victimhood, they'll get out of that orbit fast. They don't have the time or the emotional bandwidth for people who drain more than they give. Friendship, to them, should be energizing, not exhausting. They can be incredibly private, even with people they care about, but that doesn't mean they're withholding, it means they need to feel safe before they share. Capricorn Tigers guard their inner world like a fortress. Even after years of friendship, you might find there are parts of their life or past they've never spoken about. This isn't secrecy, it's self-protection. They don't share details just to bond or fill silence. When they do open up, it's usually because they see you as someone who won't misuse their vulnerability. They need time, space, and subtle signals of emotional safety. If you react with curiosity and compassion rather than judgment or sensationalism, they'll go deeper. But if you make their openness about you, or worse, use it against them, they'll retreat for good. And no, they won't explain why. You'll just feel the door close. They are incredibly observant and notice the smallest details in their friends' lives, even if they don't mention it out loud. They might not comment on everything, but they're always watching. That time you seemed off but said nothing? They clocked it. The change in your tone? The hesitation in your laugh? They picked up on all of it. Capricorn Tigers are emotional detectives. They observe patterns in behavior, energy shifts, and emotional cues with razor-sharp precision. They might not call you out right away, but they'll file it away. And when the moment is right, when they sense you're open, they'll bring it up in a way that shows just how much they care. This makes them incredible friends during life's most fragile moments. They won't make a scene. They'll simply be there, quietly holding space, asking the right questions, and giving you what you didn't even know you needed. They have high standards for friendship and expect honesty, accountability, and emotional maturity from the people they keep close. A Capricorn Tiger doesn't maintain friendships just for nostalgia or convenience. If you're in their life, it's because you've earned that place through mutual respect, trust, and growth. They don't expect you to be perfect, but they do expect you to own your stuff. If you mess up, they want to see real accountability, not excuses. If you're struggling, they want honest communication, not silence or deflection. Emotional maturity is sexy to them. If you can talk about hard things without spiraling or blaming the world, they'll open up to you even more. Their standards might feel high, but that's because their friendships are sacred. When they find someone who meets them at their level, they become fiercely loyal, endlessly supportive, and, without exaggeration, one of the most grounding forces a person could ever have in their life. Business. Now let's talk power. Capricorn Tigers were born to lead. Their work ethic is unmatched. They combine Capricorn's discipline with the Tiger's risk-taking instincts, a perfect recipe for success. This is a personality built for the long game. Capricorn Tigers don't just dream big, they build big, step by step, brick by brick. They're the ones who start businesses from scratch, climb corporate ladders faster than most, or transform broken systems into thriving operations. Capricorn brings relentless focus, long-term planning, and a deep respect for structure. The Tiger injects daring, charisma, and bold decision-making into the mix. Together, they create a professional powerhouse that knows how to play by the rules, and when to rewrite them. They don't wait for opportunities. They engineer them, and once they're in motion, they're nearly impossible to stop. They don't just chase money, they chase purpose. They need to feel like their work matters. They're drawn to industries where they can be both in control and creative: entrepreneurship, strategy, architecture, media, even politics. Money is important, sure, but it's never the end game. Capricorn Tigers want to feel that their work makes a difference, that it's building something real, valuable, and lasting. That's why they're often drawn to careers that allow them to shape vision and outcomes. Entrepreneurship gives them autonomy, while creative industries feed the Tiger's desire for excitement and innovation. Strategic fields like architecture or political consulting allow their minds to operate in high gear, solving complex problems while staying aligned with bigger picture goals. They want to leave a legacy, not just collect checks. Their ultimate career satisfaction comes when impact and income move in sync. As employees, they're efficient, loyal, and strategic. As bosses, they're demanding but fair. They set high standards and expect you to rise, and if you do, they'll reward you handsomely. When Capricorn Tigers work under someone, they bring diligence, thoughtfulness, and ambition. They won't waste your time, cut corners, or pass off mediocre work. They are efficient machines who take pride in exceeding expectations. But their eyes are always on the horizon. They're not here to clock in and zone out. They want to grow, promote them, challenge them, or risk losing them. As leaders, they don't micromanage, but they do demand excellence. Mediocrity drives them crazy. If you show up with initiative, loyalty, and vision, they'll go to great lengths to support your success. But if you slack, lie, or underdeliver, don't expect leniency. They'll cut you loose, no apologies. They hate micromanagement and love autonomy. Give them a vision and the freedom to execute, and they'll blow your expectations out of the water. Tell a Capricorn Tiger what needs to be done, then step back. They thrive when they're trusted to lead without someone breathing down their neck. They know how to structure their time, prioritize tasks, and adjust mid-course if things shift. What they hate is being second-guessed, overmanaged, or forced to follow outdated systems that don't work. If you hover over them, they'll shut down, or quietly start planning their exit. But if you give them creative freedom, authority, and a clear outcome to chase, they'll deliver not only results, but innovation. They're the kind of workers who redefine best practices and set new standards, often without asking for permission. Don't mistake their silence for weakness. They're always 5 steps ahead. You may not see the gears turning, but trust me, they are. Capricorn Tigers don't need to dominate every meeting or steal the spotlight to assert their influence. In fact, they often prefer to observe, listen, and strategize quietly, while others talk themselves in circles. Their silence isn't passivity, it's calculation. They're listening for the power dynamics, the unspoken truths, the cracks in a plan. While others are distracted by urgency, they're mapping the long term. They know how to bide their time and strike when the timing is perfect. That's why they're so often underestimated in the early stages, and why they tend to win big in the end. They value reputation, not just success, and they play the long game to earn it. Capricorn Tigers care deeply about how they are perceived in their professional circles. Not in a shallow, image-obsessed way, but in the sense of credibility. They want their name to mean something. They want their work to speak for itself. They strive for excellence because they know a solid reputation is a form of currency that opens doors. This is why they won't engage in office gossip, risky shortcuts, or trendy chaos. They'd rather miss a short-term win than damage their long-term credibility. That said, they will take calculated risks, but only when the odds are in their favor and the timing is right. They're not afraid of pressure, in fact, they thrive on it. Capricorn Tigers have a strange relationship with stress. They kind of love it. Pressure, deadlines, big deals, major risks, these things don't scare them. They activate them. High-stakes situations are where they sharpen their claws. The Capricorn side keeps them grounded and focused, while the Tiger thrives in fast-paced, competitive environments. In moments of crisis, they remain eerily calm, scanning for the smartest move. They know how to tune out the noise and execute under fire. This makes them incredible in leadership roles during turbulent times. While others panic or freeze, they stay clear-headed, confident, and focused on results. They respect ambition in others and are fiercely competitive, but they compete with intelligence, not ego. Capricorn Tigers don't need to win every single battle, they just need to win the war. They don't get caught up in petty one-upmanship or surface-level status games. Their focus is on mastery, excellence, and impact. That said, they hate being underestimated or disrespected. If you challenge them, you better be prepared, because they'll come back with facts, strategy, and results that speak for themselves. They surround themselves with other ambitious people, not to outshine them, but to sharpen their own edge. In business, they believe in collaboration, but only with people who pull their weight and bring their A game. Anything less, and they're out. In the world of business, Capricorn Tigers are the storm and the strategist. They don't just show up to work, they show up to build empires. Their blend of vision, discipline, and instinct makes them one of the most formidable forces in any industry they choose. Work with one, and you'll either rise with them, or watch them rise without you. Dark sides. Every light casts a shadow, and the Capricorn Tiger has a few lurking beneath the surface. Control issues. They like to lead, not follow. If they feel they're losing power, in love, work, or friendships, they might become cold, passive-aggressive, or overly critical. Capricorn Tigers crave structure and influence. They don't always demand the spotlight, but they absolutely need to feel in control of their environment. When things begin to slip through their fingers, when someone challenges their authority, disrupts their plan, or triggers their insecurity, they can become rigid and inflexible. Rather than voicing their frustration openly, they may retreat into silence, deliver subtle jabs, or begin micromanaging those around them. In relationships, this need for control can feel suffocating to a partner. In the workplace, it can create unnecessary tension with colleagues or employees. They may not intend harm, but their unconscious effort to reclaim dominance can sabotage connection and collaboration. Learning to trust the process, and people, is a lifelong challenge for them. Emotional isolation. Their need for control sometimes means they suppress emotions. They feel deeply, but don't always know how to express vulnerability. This can make them seem distant or emotionally unavailable. The Capricorn Tiger has a complex emotional world, but they often build walls around it. Vulnerability is perceived as a weakness, or worse, a liability. From an early age, they may have learned to rely on logic and independence as a defense mechanism. As adults, this can manifest as emotional detachment. They'll be present for others in a crisis but struggle to open up about their own internal chaos. They might retreat into work, hobbies, or intellectual debates when emotional conversations get too raw. To loved ones, this can feel like rejection or aloofness. It's not that they don't care, they care deeply. But their fear of being exposed or misunderstood often silences their truth. Ironically, their refusal to show vulnerability is the very thing that keeps them from building the emotional intimacy they crave. Pride. The tiger adds a rebellious ego. Admit fault, show weakness, not unless they truly trust you, and sometimes not even then. Their pride can get in the way of healing, growth, or apology. Capricorn alone is known for its stoic dignity, but when fused with the tiger's fiery independence, that dignity can harden into pure pride. This is someone who hates being wrong, and hates having to say they're wrong even more. If they feel cornered, criticized, or disrespected, they'll likely respond with icy silence or fierce defensiveness rather than humility. Apologizing can feel like surrendering power, which conflicts with their deep-seated need for control. Even when they know they've hurt someone, they may rationalize their actions instead of owning them outright. It's not that they're cruel, they're just fiercely self-protective. But this pride can leave damage in its wake, particularly in close relationships, where an unwillingness to apologize or admit flaws can erode trust over time. Workaholism. Capricorn's drive plus Tiger's energy equals burnout risk. They can become so obsessed with goals that they forget to rest, connect, or enjoy life. If the Capricorn Tiger has a religion, it's productivity. They thrive on building, achieving, and surpassing expectations. But this relentless pursuit of success often comes at a cost. They may sacrifice sleep, relationships, even health in service of the next milestone. Their identity can become so fused with their work that any pause or period of rest feels like failure. Resting makes them feel vulnerable, and vulnerability is territory they resist entering. So instead, they hustle harder. Over time, this creates a dangerous loop. Achieve, burn out, isolate, repeat. They might not even recognize how exhausted or emotionally depleted they are until something, illness, loss, heartbreak, forces them to stop. Learning to rest, reconnect, and exist outside of their ambitions is one of their hardest but most necessary lessons. Perfectionism. They set extremely high standards for themselves, and for everyone else. This can lead to self-criticism, disappointment, and strained relationships. Capricorn Tigers live in a world of high expectations. They believe in excellence, precision, and doing things the right way. But that idealism, while admirable, can quickly turn toxic. When they fall short of their own standards, they internalize the failure and spiral into self-doubt or harsh internal criticism. When others fall short, they may become judgmental, impatient, or cold. This can make them difficult teammates, perfectionist partners, and overly demanding leaders. They expect people to work as hard as they do, care as much as they do, and hold themselves to the same high standards, which is often unrealistic. The irony is, their perfectionism is born from a deep fear of inadequacy, not superiority. But until they recognize that, they risk alienating the very people they love and admire. Emotional rigidity. Once they've made a decision, especially an emotional one, it's hard to get them to reconsider. They can be stubborn to the point of self-sabotage. Capricorn Tigers hate second-guessing themselves. Once they decide someone's wrong for them, or that a situation is toxic, or that a boundary must be set, they hold that line hard. They rarely revisit emotional decisions once they've been made, which can be both a strength and a weakness. While this emotional decisiveness helps protect them from repeated harm, it can also keep them from seeing nuance, growth, or genuine change in others. They may hold grudges. They may walk away too early. They may write people off who are trying to do better. Their emotional rigidity, rooted in fear of being hurt or manipulated, can become a wall that keeps love out just as effectively as it keeps chaos out. Fear of dependency. They equate needing others with weakness, which can make them reject help even when they need it most. One of the Capricorn Tiger's deepest internal battles is the tension between independence and connection. They want to be strong, self-reliant, and unshakable, but they also yearn for deep emotional bonds. Unfortunately, they often interpret dependency as failure. Asking for help, leaning on someone, or admitting they can't do it alone makes them deeply uncomfortable. They may downplay their needs or pretend everything's fine when it's not. This can frustrate friends and partners who want to be there for them but are constantly shut out. The truth is, needing support doesn't make them weak, it makes them human. But for the Capricorn Tiger, learning to receive is far harder than learning to give. Control through silence. When hurt, offended, or angry, they may go cold and shut down communication instead of addressing things directly. The Capricorn Tiger doesn't always roar when upset, sometimes they freeze. Instead of explosive arguments, they may withdraw into silence, using emotional distance as a weapon or defense. This quiet storm approach is a form of control. They withhold attention, affection, or clarity, hoping the other person will eventually get the message, or feel the sting of being iced out. It's not because they don't care. It's because they care so much that losing control over the emotional situation feels unbearable. Unfortunately, this can be deeply confusing and painful for those on the receiving end. It leads to miscommunication, resentment, and distance. Only when the Capricorn Tiger learns to speak from the wound instead of protecting it with silence can true healing happen in their closest relationships. The Capricorn Tiger, for all their brilliance, depth, and strength, is not without shadows. But these dark sides are not flaws, they're opportunities for transformation. When acknowledged and worked through, they can become the very traits that forge wisdom, compassion, and emotional resilience. Their journey isn't just to lead others, it's to lead themselves through the territory of their own humanity. Life purpose. So what is the ultimate goal of a Capricorn Tiger? To build a legacy, not just wealth, but impact. They want to leave the world better than they found it. They dream big, act strategically, and aim to build, whether it's a company, a family, a community, or an idea that changes the world. For the Capricorn Tiger, the concept of legacy isn't abstract, it's urgent, personal, and constantly on their mind. They don't just want success for themselves, they want to create something that lasts, something that lives on when they're gone. Whether that legacy takes the form of a global brand, a tight-knit family built on values, or a social movement that challenges the status quo, it must have substance. They measure their worth not by applause or likes but by impact. The Capricorn side demands structure and measurable outcomes, while the Tiger infuses that vision with boldness and originality. This combination pushes them to think long-term and act with intention, often making choices today that won't pay off for decades, but they're okay with that. Building something meaningful takes time, and no one understands that better than a Capricorn Tiger. But they also crave something deeper: freedom. The Tiger wants to live boldly, and the Capricorn wants to live securely. Their journey is about balancing structure with spontaneity, control with surrender. One of the most complex internal battles for a Capricorn Tiger is reconciling their need for control with their desire for freedom. The Capricorn in them thrives on predictability, organization, and knowing where the road leads. The Tiger, by contrast, wants to chase the unknown, break rules, and feel the thrill of the wild. Their life purpose is not found in leaning too far in either direction, it's in learning how to dance between them. This balancing act creates a uniquely rich life path, one that's simultaneously grounded and adventurous, calculated and rebellious. When they're too rigid, they feel trapped. When they're too impulsive, they feel lost. Their highest self is discovered when they can hold both energies in harmony, creating a life that is free, but not chaotic, stable, but never stagnant. They are not here for a boring life. They are here to master it. This zodiac combination didn't show up on Earth just to go through the motions. Capricorn Tigers have an unshakable drive to figure life out. They're not satisfied with mediocrity, routine, or surface-level existence. Whether they're working in corporate law or painting abstract murals, they approach life as a system to be mastered, a chessboard full of strategy, sacrifice, and triumph. And they want to win, not just at work, but in love, health, parenting, purpose. They approach life like it's a personal Everest, daunting, dangerous, but deeply worth the climb. Every mistake becomes data. Every setback becomes fuel. They are endlessly curious about how to become better, smarter, stronger, freer, and this constant hunger for growth shapes a life of deep fulfillment and personal transformation. When in alignment, they become wise leaders, passionate lovers, loyal friends, and unstoppable forces of progress. Alignment for a Capricorn Tiger means they're living in sync with both their head and their heart. When they're grounded in purpose but also open to spontaneity, when they're building toward a goal but not strangling the process, they light up. In this state, they're a magnetic presence, calm but driven, gentle but powerful, assertive but deeply intuitive. They inspire others simply by how they live. People turn to them for guidance, follow their lead without question, and feel safe in their presence. Their relationships deepen, their creativity flows, and their work becomes an extension of their soul. These are the moments when they become not just successful, but legendary. They're not just moving forward, they're pulling the world with them. They are architects of reality, driven to shape, influence, and elevate the world around them. Capricorn Tigers don't wait for things to happen, they make them happen. They see flaws in systems, holes in industries, gaps in thinking, and instinctively move to fill them. Whether it's founding a company, designing a more ethical policy, mentoring the next generation, or transforming their community from the inside out, they are relentless in their desire to build better. The Capricorn in them ensures their approach is thoughtful and sustainable, while the Tiger brings courage and originality. Their minds are always working, not just to succeed personally, but to elevate the larger structure they're part of. They don't settle for what is, they strive for what could be. They are here to lead, but not in the way most people imagine leadership. Capricorn Tigers aren't loud leaders. They don't rely on charisma alone or dominate with ego. Their leadership is built on consistency, vision, and respect. People follow them because they deliver, day after day, year after year. They lead by example, showing others what it means to live with integrity, work with excellence, and love with loyalty. The Tiger gives them the courage to speak up when no one else will. The Capricorn ensures they think before they speak, plan before they act, and follow through. They may never be the loudest voice in the room, but when they talk, people listen. And when they lead, others grow stronger just by being near them. They must learn that true purpose isn't always found in doing more, it's often found in being more. The biggest trap for Capricorn Tigers is equating purpose with productivity. They can spend years climbing ladders, building empires, and hitting goals, only to feel strangely empty at the top. That's because their true purpose isn't just to do, it's to be. to be present, to be connected, to be fulfilled on a soul level. Their journey isn't just about changing the world outside, it's about transforming the world within. When they slow down and reconnect with themselves, beyond the hustle, beyond the roles, beyond the titles, they access a deeper truth. They begin to realize that legacy isn't just about what you leave behind, it's about how you live while you're here. That realization shifts everything. Their ultimate life purpose is to leave behind more than achievements, it's to leave behind alignment. More than buildings, books, companies, or causes, the Capricorn Tiger is here to model what it looks like when a human being lives in integrity with their soul's mission. That is their real legacy. Their greatest accomplishment isn't the empire they build, but the alignment they embody. When they live with courage, serve with intention, love without fear, and lead without ego, they don't just change the world, they inspire others to change their own. That is the rare, sacred path of the Capricorn Tiger. And they walk it not just for themselves, but for everyone watching them rise. So if you are a Capricorn Tiger, embrace your contradiction. You are both earth and fire, structure and spirit, discipline and desire. You are not here to fit into neat categories. You are a paradox in motion, a strategist with a soul, a dreamer with a spreadsheet, a wild heart inside a tailored suit. The Capricorn Tiger is meant to live in the middle space between extremes. That contradiction is not your flaw, it's your superpower. You feel torn between craving control and chasing freedom? That's because you were born to master the dance between the two. You hold deep wisdom in one hand and raw instinct in the other. Where others choose one path, you blend two into a trail no one else could walk. Your complexity is your brilliance. Don't suppress it, don't simplify it. Live fully in your duality, and you'll unlock a life of depth, impact, and purpose. You are both patient and explosive, cautious and bold, grounded and electric, and learning to navigate that duality is the journey of your lifetime. On any given day, you may feel like a walking contradiction. One moment you're building a 10-year plan, the next, you're burning it all down for something that sets your soul on fire. That's not confusion, that's who you are. The Capricorn in you sees the value in structure, long-term strategy, and security. The Tiger? It refuses to be caged. It wants to run wild, take risks, and breathe freedom like oxygen. Your path isn't about choosing between them, it's about letting them fuel each other. When your discipline grounds your passion, you become unstoppable. When your spontaneity softens your rigidity, you become free. Your success lies not in choosing a side, but in integrating the whole. You are not meant to be understood by everyone, only by those willing to go deep enough to see you. Let's be honest, you intimidate people. Not because you try to, but because your presence carries weight. You move with intention, you speak with precision, you see through surface-level nonsense. That kind of clarity can be uncomfortable for others. Some will call you too serious, too intense, or too ambitious. But here's the truth. You weren't born to be easily understood. You were born to be respected. The people who take the time to look beyond your walls, who stay long enough to witness your loyalty, your fire, your quiet tenderness, they're the ones who get to know the real you. Don't dim your complexity for anyone who can't handle depth. Shine as you are. You are a lighthouse to those who seek excellence, truth, and transformation, whether you realize it or not. You may not always see your impact, but others do. People look at how you move through the world, the standards you uphold, the discipline you carry, the courage you bring, and they're inspired. You lead by example, often without even trying. Your way of being reminds others that success doesn't have to be loud, that love doesn't have to be chaotic, and that ambition doesn't have to be selfish. You hold a rare kind of power, the kind that changes rooms without raising your voice. You don't chase attention, it follows you. And when you allow your inner fire and outer structure to work in harmony, you don't just shine, you illuminate others. You are not for the faint of heart, and that's exactly why you are unforgettable. People don't forget a Capricorn Tiger. You leave fingerprints on lives, ideas, systems, and hearts. You demand presence, depth, and authenticity from others, and you offer the same in return. But here's the catch. You don't hand yourself over easily. You're a test of patience and character. You require people to rise. But for those who pass, you offer a loyalty so deep, a love so fierce, and a friendship so rare that it becomes life-defining. You are not a casual experience. You are a force, raw, refined, and relentlessly real. And anyone lucky enough to truly know you will carry the mark of that encounter forever. You are here to build a life that others only dream about, and it starts with owning every piece of who you are. The Capricorn Tiger was never meant for a lukewarm life. You were built for ambition with soul, for intimacy with fire, for discipline with wildness. Your life purpose isn't just about achievement, it's about alignment. It's about creating a life so real, so full, so uniquely yours, that every moment becomes a statement of truth. To do that, you must own every side of you. The planner and the risk-taker, the lover and the lone wolf, the leader and the learner. You don't need to fix yourself, you need to free yourself. And when you do, the life you build will not just satisfy you, it will inspire everyone watching. You are the blueprint for what happens when ambition meets soul, and that makes you revolutionary. In a world that often demands we choose between success and authenticity, you are the answer to the question, what if you didn't have to choose? You prove that it's possible to climb high without losing your heart. That power can coexist with empathy. That you can lead without ego and love without losing yourself. You're not here to play by someone else's rules. You're here to design your own, live them out loud, and redefine what greatness looks like. That's not a role for everyone, but it is the role you were born for. And the world is better because of it. And if you know one, hold on tight. You're in the presence of something rare, powerful, and unforgettable. Loving a Capricorn Tiger isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. These people are not halfway anything. If they've let you into their world, it's because they see you as someone extraordinary. Don't take that for granted. Learn their language, which is action over words, loyalty over hype, depth over drama. Stand by them, grow with them, and you'll find yourself elevated just by being in their orbit. Their intensity can challenge you. Their silence can confuse you. But their love, it's the kind that changes you. They are rare not because they're perfect, but because they are real. And in a world full of noise, being near someone that real is a gift. Want more personality breakdowns like this? Hit the like button, drop a comment about your zodiac combo, and subscribe for deep dives into astrology, psychology, and self-mastery. And don't forget, follow the links in the description for even more tools to understand yourself and the people around you. You never know, your next big insight might be one zodiac video away.